Hey everybody, this is Alaska. Here to let you know about Anchor by Spotify. Let me tell you about this system. So basically, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's everything you need all in one place. It's how we make our podcast. It's a great system. Gets you on all the sites you need. Anchor lets you record. You can edit like right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating a podcast today. Then you can distribute your podcast to the most popular platforms, including Spotify with like just a single tap. Once it's uploaded, it's out. Boom, you can get everything set up. Anchor is also the only place where you can publish video podcasts to Spotify. We're going to have to look into that. With Anchor, creators can earn money on a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. So if you download the Anchor app now, you can get yourself started and you could be like us, call out culture. It's kind of what we do here. So, get on it.
I'm assuming y'all have seen Elsewhere before, right? Saying Elsewhere, the fucking hospital show with Denzel. Yeah. So you remember how the show ended?
Yeah. With the autistic kid and the snowball.
Yeah, so apparently there's Dwayne McDuffie, who I feel like we all know who Dwayne McDuffie is. He had this theory about so real quick, Dwayne McDuffie was the guy who created Static Shock and did a lot of work on like DC animated shit. Yeah. Dwayne McDuffie is the fucking legend. He passed away not too long ago, but he was amazing. So black dude too, by the way. So like he had this so like he was talking about like continuity and like the way comic books fuck everything up and just like the way like nerds get crazy about it. And he thought about saying Elsewhere and the way the comic book continuity is supposed to work. It's like everything that every universe touched is like somehow related and all a part of the same thing, right? So to kind of extend to how ridiculous that was, he was like, imagine if we did that with Saying Elsewhere, because that show is connected to like every show on television ever. So it's called the Tommy Westfall universe hypothesis. So it's like, so like you look at it like, Saying Elsewhere spun off, like a character from Saying Elsewhere spun off into Homicide: Life on the Street. There was like a crossover. So that would technically mean that Homicide: Life on the Street is a part of Tommy Westfall's dream. And then John Munch from Homicide was on Law and Order, which would mean that Law and Order is also a part of it. And then everything that Law and Order touches is also a part of the Tommy Westfall universe. And then it just goes and goes and goes.
Munch is a multiverse villain because he's in like 4 or 5 shows, if I'm not.
He starts on Homicide. Life in the Street.
He starts on Homicide,
He's on The Wire, right?
Yeah. He's on The Simpsons.
He's on The Simpsons. He's on Law and Order, right?
Yeah. He's on Law and Order, and then he's on he might or may not be in The Corner because it's Baltimore. I don't remember.
He was on Luther too.
He was on Luther.
No. He wasn't on Luther. He was name checked as a liaison on Luther. So that makes him a part of.
So that makes him a part of that thing too. Nice.
Right.
Good.
And then the Simpsons, like Zilla said, like that opens it up to even more shit. So like just like Futurama. So it's just like exactly Futurama, fucking.
I mean, do you think that's maybe their way of letting us know that we're just all in the snow globe?
Our
whole existence is the snow globe.
And let me tell you why I don't want to be in a snow globe. Because one of my big fears, when you're not feeling well, you deal, you get a lot of thoughts and stuff. But one of my big fears before anything got real in my life was the ending of Men in Black. When we were in the locker, when they universe, and we were the keychain in the locker, and then first that universe is in the keychain, right? You're trying to save the universe, and they pull out and we're in the locker and then that's somebody's marbles or something like that. Like that's
with the playing like dice and shit. Yeah.
Welcome to Call Out Culture Podcast with Alaska, Curly Castro, and Zilla Rock.
So tonight, Curly Castro back for the second time like I never left, here with the great Alaska and the indomitable Zilla Rocker. Today we have featured the one and only CineMasia, our brother Dylan, who runs the great podcast, and it's a video show too, right? We have video on it, right?
Not yet. It's just like banner images, but no, it's cool. It's cool.
Podcast Real Notes, where he allows hip hop luminaries and other stalwarts in our field to talk about movies and film, stuff that people don't know or necessarily realize that when you're an MC, you do a lot of downloading, you watch a lot of stuff, you read a lot of things, you absorb and imbibe a lot of material. And a lot of us are into films. So sometimes being an MC is also being a movie buff because we like to absorb material, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Stuff we put in our songs and shit. And tonight we are here to talk about Black Star in totality. We will not just talk about their new record, we'll talk about their old record and then just them as an entity. We thought it was an interesting piece. And Dylan was also great he wrote the recent Pitchfork review for the new Black Star record. So we thought he would be a perfect person to bring along to not just trash or praise the record, but just as another voice that's into Black Star like we are and what this record might have done or will do to their legacy.
Yes.
Is that good? That was good.
I love it.
Blah, 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 blah.
Incredible.
Yes.
First and foremost, thank y'all for having me. I'm happy to
yeah.
finally be on Call Out Culture. You already know what it is, Zilla and Castro. Alaska, great to finally meet you and get to talk and shit. I'm just excited for I'm excited for praise and debauchery tonight. We're gonna go crazy.
The last time I talked to you when I was on your pod, it was like end of fall last year, and it was storming like a motherfucker in Philly, and we were wrapping up while like my basement was leaking all over the place. And you were like so cool and kind, and I was like trying to be pleasant. My wife's text was like, "Check the basement, it's flooding." And I was like, "Okay, hold on, I'm wrapping up a call." And I could hear the water dripping everywhere.
You were muting the call.
And I was muting myself, and I was like hearing it. I was hearing water pouring down my walls, and I was like, "All right, man. Well, I gotta head out. I got stuff going on. I'll talk to you later." So yeah, thanks for having us on your show, and thanks for coming on our show. Oh boy, so here we go, the Black Star, the multiverse.
Yeah,
That
goes a lot of places. The Crisis on Infinite Black Star multiverses. So here we go, boys. So I guess we'll kick it where it all starts at with the very, very first Black Star album, which we just name dropped last week on best album covers, and we threw that in for the first album. I like the new album cover, by the way. But so on our end, you know, we're closing in on 150 episodes, which is ill, and we've talked a lot about Raucous, early wave Raucous, Talib Kweli in particular. We've talked about it.
I feel like we haven't talked about Mos a lot.
We really.
We're the best Mike Zoo podcast there is.
Without a doubt. Scam, AL,
all them guys.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, I don't think we talk about Mos a lot, but he's in the periphery.
Yeah, he's in my personal top 5, like people that I'm just always gonna listen to forever. Ever.
Static, big record in Zilla's collection.
Oh, for 100%. So, and then Black on both sides. So I think then we've, like you said, we haven't discussed Mos as much as we've talked about Kweli, nor have we talked about as much as like Raucous as a punching bag and also as like a thing that has meant a lot in our lives, you know, good and bad. So first Black Star album, Dylan Green, you're at least 30 years younger than Alaska. What was your first interaction with the first Black Star album?
Oh shit, that's a good question. One of my best friends in the entire world, shout out to Spence, I love you. He put me on to the first album when we were in high school. And the first song that I connected with was Thieves in the Night. So I was in high school, I want to say about 10 years after this album came out. So like the album came out in 98, 99, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, like you see, like I was like a junior or like a sophomore in high school when I first experienced that album. So it was about a decade after it dropped. But like, just like the beat on the song is great, and I loved fucking Talib and Mos's call and response on the hook, and just like
let me ask you. So were you aware of Mos and Talib before you got into the Black Star record? Okay, Okay, cool.
Nah, definitely. So like I was already because I was watching Chappelle, so like I kind of really got into, like I had heard Mos before, but I really got into Mos after I saw him do the cab freestyle, and I was like, oh, this shit is crazy. Yeah, that I used to have the whole shit memorized, bro.
Put that
to the front, back, middle, and front, left side, shit, do what it wants, like Jay Brown, get involved.
So crazy.
Pull up to your spot on low, shine brighter than all of the cats that got on glow. Lay in the cut like they not gon' know, cause if I gotta make a move, dog, they not gon' know. This door more private, this is not faux show. It's Mos Def what you call real faux show. Is they what you call gangster? Hell no. They get a little pinch and go snitch to the pole. They all talk fast, but they all think slow. I'm most definite, not think so. Fudge this city with the black ink float, and my crew ain't scared to let them things go. So stop with the nonsense, like he conscious. I'm just awake, dog. I'm doing great.
But like I heard, so like Thieves in the Night was my first kind of like experience with Black Star, and to just kind of see them go at it together, and just like to hear like the references, like I know that's named after the Toni Morrison story, or at least it like name drops it a couple of times, and just like just to kind of like see the reference pool they were going with and their flows and just the way they were, I was like, this is tight, you know, like I liked it a lot. And then I picked up a couple of the other songs because I was just like grabbing like MP3s. I didn't have a physical CD of the shit, but you know, I listened to the whole thing front to back, and I was like, this is really cool. I like this a lot. And, you know, like most, and like, we already know how I felt about most, like, you know, I'm like you, one of my, Black on Both Sides is one of my favorite albums of all time. I wrote about it for his 20th anniversary for DJ Booth and Title back in the day. It was a good piece. You should go find it. But what's it called? Like Kweli was somebody who was kind of like also in my periphery. A story, I was actually thinking about this while I was writing the review for this. The first time I remember like I went to a sleepaway camp that had this crazy game that they used to play called Name That Alien, where they would take the camp counselors' they would take photos of the camp counselors and warp them beyond recognition, and you would have to guess who the camp counselor was. And the song they used for the game was the instrumental for Get By Kweli. And like I don't know why. The weirdest thing ever.
It's the first sleepaway camp reference in the history of the show. You did it.
Nice.
But
really
like
you made it happen.
So like at that point I was already familiar with them, but then I heard them come together and I was like, oh, this is cool. And it really kind of stuck with me, especially songs like Thieves in the Night really stuck with me. Respiration really stuck with me. Knowledge of Self really stuck with me. And just like I was, you know, I kind of, like even going back to it now, it's just like that album is such an album of its time. Like it really like that feels like 98, 99 to me, like in that specific like subset of like rap person being in Brooklyn at that time. Like that's like a time capsule for better or sometimes worse, but mostly better, you know, like,
Castro, what was your first interaction with the first Black Star?
So like Black Star was like a natural progression of what we were following them doing it with the Ultramagnetic singles and the 2000 seasons and stuff. Now, I didn't know they were going to come together. And when I first heard of it, it was introduced like it might have been another like just Raucous creation. I didn't know they were doing a whole album because it was like Mos Def and Kweli present Black Star. So I thought that might have just been a couple of songs and then back to their solo work.
Yeah, like a 12-inch.
Yeah, I didn't, because that was the nature of their business at that point. I didn't know they were doing a full record. And then Definition dropped. And that was like the big one because they dropped a video with the Dollar Cab, and that's my neighborhood. Like they're in my neighborhood, Flatbush.
That's hard.
Up and shit. And so I'm just like, I'm recognizing the stores and shit. And like the Dollar Cab thing just sucked me in because I've taken Dollar Cabs thousands of times. And just portraying that on TV in the video, the KRS-One drums, was that Impeach the President? Is that
no, it's the P is free.
PS3, yeah. And then you know the flows that they were using, that one Kweli fooled us with at first, and two, Mos was mastering at, you know, when you heard that was a mastered flow, and then Kweli tricked us with his flow that you didn't realize what it was till later. And I was just totally enamored with it. I was like, oh, this, you know, it's very, very, very Brooklyn. And at that point, Brooklyn was not in the center spotlight. So that was another gravitating thing. We weren't like boasting the best MCs at that time. And so to have two stalwarts at the time repping Brooklyn, screaming Brooklyn, it was really magnetizing to me. And so when the record dropped, the record was also just another culmination of what we were following. Like, let's make a perfect B-boy ode to the 4 elements hip hop record with two dope
Right.
MCs. That's what it felt like. It felt like they tried to touch on all of the elements. They were trying to touch on like the essence, if you will. Like, we know that's a corny topic, but that's what the Black Star record was. Trying to touch back into the essence and bring back the original elements, lack of a better term, of hip hop and have it on a record. The whole thing of looking like it was carved in wood, it reminded me of like school desks and shit like that, but also like trying to make it a permanent. And it was also like the flagship of Rawkus at the time. So it was creating a wave. We all knew that this was the tip of the wave, if you will, of what was to come. We thought we'd be like 10 projects like this, but this was the first salvo, like the first like grenade, first b-boy grenade toss of that time.
Nice. Right. What about you, Alaska?
I mean, similar to Castro, like, you know, sort of being in like that New Yorican scene at the time. It felt really symbolic of the way we felt things were going. Like, you know, like there's this like next movement and next wave coming. And the way that album burst on the scene, like, you know, at least in our world, it seemed gigantic. Right. Like it seemed like the doors were about to open. Like Castro was saying, like it's about to be.
Source cover.
What's that?
The source cover.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, exactly.
With Black Thought, Common, and Mos on the front.
That was way after. That was after this album.
But that's
it was like Pharaoh. Yeah, it was Pharaoh.
Yeah. But then it all sort of culminated in the Central Park concert, which was huge, and it was like, you know, Canox opened for them in that show.
You were there, Alaska? You went to that one?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So it was like, you know, it was like you had that like one chamber with Mos and Talib, and then you had the Canox chamber. And it was almost like a full representation of what was going on in like the New York underground at that time.
Right.
And
that's so loose.
to me, it feels more like even now, like when I go back to it, it's more symbolic for what it represents than like the actual quality of the music. And the music is quality, but like it's always to me like this was a special time and place. Like you had to really be there to understand it and get it. Like I don't think you could like take a kid that's like 15 now and give them that record and expect them to understand the full scope.
Right.
That
the magnitude of that record, the timing and all of that.
And you know, I think, you know, much like Canox, it burned out quick too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
good point.
The career wasn't necessarily there for that.
Right. To be multiplied. It wasn't like 3 or 4.
Yeah, it wasn't something that could be contained long term.
Right. And
And we were greedy and selfish, so we might have wanted a couple of more. But I think the fact that we had one for that long stretch of time until this new one was that was the nature of that record. It wasn't, you know, the movies that we think shouldn't have sequels, like Let It Stand Alone as that piece of art.
It didn't necessarily need anything more.
A monument. It was a monument. You know, you don't put the next monument next to it with another pose. You just let that monument stand.
No, it's a wildly important record, and it's sort of like, you know, if you look in like the hip hop multiverse, like this is like a point where things break.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely a tone shift. A lot of different things changed after it.
Yep.
Yeah. This is post. Can we say this is like post Jay-Z Puffy a little bit?
No. Because I'm gonna hit you with it. You ready for this?
Okay. All right.
Here's my experience. September 29th, 1998. This album drops the same day as Hard Knock Life, Aquemini, and Brand Nubian Foundation.
What a day.
And I went to all the record stores and nobody was carrying this shit in Philly. I was trying to cop this.
Everyone was Brand Nubian Foundation.
Yes, you can get Foundation.
Yeah.
And all the record stores were opening at midnight to sell Hard Knock Life.
Armand definitely had. Armand had Black Star.
You know what? I didn't go to Armand's. I went to HMV. I went to The Wall. I went to Sam Goody. I went to Tower.
Just wasn't available.
No one had the shit. Because everyone was stocking up for Hove.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It was Hove. It was Hove World, and then Brand Nubian was just a major label, so they had it, and then Aquemini, which was fucking.
And nobody knew what Aquemini was going to be. I don't think.
Right, but Rosa Parks was everywhere. That single was huge. So all those albums were clicking.
It came out yet either. Like that got the 5 mics from the Source, and then that really blew up.
Right, but that was probably like a couple weeks after, or maybe before. I don't remember. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't.
So I was going to all these stores. So I bought Aquemini.
What did you know of Black Star before you went and got the record?
I knew of I think I might have known of Universal Magnetic and probably my Raucous timeline's weird because I didn't catch the 12s because I wasn't buying 12s at that point. But I heard this. Sound Bombing 1 was like my entry point into the Raucous shit. So
Okay.
I can't remember which one I bought first. Yeah, because it pulled all the 12s, the L Fudge and RA. So it was either I bought Black Star first and went back, or got that first and knew. I can't remember what happened first. But I just remember going to all the record stores trying to find Black Star, and no one had it. So it took like another week or so for the Hard Knock Life fever to die down, and then for people to carry this album, which I bought as soon as I can get my hands on it. And then I was in high school. I was 16 when it hit. So it was like right there for me to catch it and love it and help me make sense of like this new pocket universe opening up to then eventually lead to Canox and everything else. So it was huge. I remember I used to just like sit in my room and just like listen to Respiration and just sit there.
Oh, Respiration was a trance. It was a trance.
It was deep, man.
Great performance by, Common, and the way the beat came on and the Spanish in there. It definitely was a trance.
Escúchala, naciedad leyendo. Video's amazing. Me and Small Pro paid homage to on the Career Crooks album with you and Prem. So, it's a pivotal record and it's incredible. And I feel like when you go back to it, the album, even when I bought it, it was kind of like an EP to me because there's an intro, there's Yeah, which is not really a song. B-Boys Will Be Boys is basically an interlude. So it's like 9 or 10 songs, really.
Play a Hater, I don't take seriously. Like, I think that was just.
It's kind of cool, but it's like it's not like essential. But like Thieves in the Night, Twice in a Lifetime.
Was like, meh.
It's okay. It's not a great. I mean, but Mos's verse, you guys paid homage to on Shrapnel. The Astronomy joint with the deep beat. When I heard the Beat Miners joint and they're going back, and I was just sat there and I was just like.
Yeah, Astronomy 8th Light.
Eighth Light is crazy. That's one of my favorites too.
That joint is. I mean, it's a really like slept on song, even though it's the first real song. But and then watching and then remember, Castro, the video for Definition would be on Rap City nonstop.
Oh yeah, it was constant.
I come home and just watch that video, and I'm like, "There's J Live, there's Dead Prez," like pointing out all these dudes in the van with them, feeling like, "Oh, like these are my guys. Like this is my shit now." So yeah, that was my first interaction with this joint. What are you gonna say, Alaska?
I was gonna say in the Definition video, like the coloring was wild too. It was so vibrant.
Yeah, it was vibrant. Like the greens,
greens and yellows,
yellows and reds.
I don't know if they meant to do it, but that's the Ethiopian flag colors: red, yellow, green.
The
RBG colors: red, black, and green. They were making those very vibrant in the video. They were.
I'm sure that was on purpose.
Yeah, they were wearing my uniform, the Castro militant hat, the shirt and
the
shirt,
555 soul tan. Everything was tan. A lot of tan. The tan and green era. It was like their clothes was like the basis for LRG. I don't know what happened first, but like the LRD Chappelle Show look started
well after them.
Okay, because the LRG Chappelle Show look started with the Definition video.
Yeah, it definitely was about shit. And to call on that, it was a shift change in terms of like that almost harkened back to leather medallions type time. Like these fashions were coming back into play. You mentioned J Live. He was rocking hats a certain way, like that hip hop fashion. Because right after that, 555 Soul comes back into play.
Yeah,
PNB. Echo has a resurgence in PNB. So those brands were getting like a reinfusion of this bohemian, Nubian
street level shit.
Yeah, for context, I was starting to get into Echo like around that time too, like because I wish I kept
some of my Echo pieces, bro. Oh, I had so many Echo pieces
when he still was spelling it with the H.
That's crazy! Wow,
pieces like that.
I wish I had my Mecha sweaters. I had so many Mecha sweaters.
The Echo stuff was so ill. I was trying to keep them because the art was so ill. Like to hold on to them, But I moved so much time. I didn't have the mechanism for it. But like some of those shirts, you could have framed. You could put them.
Dude, I had the Echo Daredevil shirt with the silhouette, and inside was all the Daredevil covers. It was a white long sleeve.
That's so crazy.
And then after that comes Academics, and then there was a lot of local brand. Anyway, sorry. Let's stay on time.
Okay. Real quick. You mentioned Castro, you mentioned something about the cover looking like a wood carving. Was wood jewelry a thing around that time?
Yeah, a little bit. If you were into if you were like, in the lock community, there was like, the wood balls where you would wear around your neck and wood earrings.
Yep.
It was like not real wood because it wasn't too heavy. It was like even fake like Super Bowl. So I remember stuff being pretty light, like hollow and whatever.
It was oak.
So definitely that was coming into play. But like that, because what I'm saying is like that stuff coming back into fashion after KRS-One and them were doing it during like X times in '92 and all that stuff. And then that kind of went away. X-Clan and stuff didn't kick off the way it almost did. But it didn't. X-Clan.
I'm glad you brought this up because on the Luminary shit, which Alaska blasted people on our free Patreon / public feed episode, and then he made me feel so bad about myself. I signed up for Luminary to give these guys $5 a month, and then I canceled it, like you said, and they hit me with the $1 a month for the next 6-month deal. I was like, sure, it's worth $1 a month. Why not? Anyway, when you listen to I don't think it's just on Luminary, like most of the Midnight Miracle is, but I think it's on the Kweli People's Party episode with Mos or Yasiin. And they were talking about how at that time when this album hit, they were probably like 24 at the oldest.
Okay.
And talking about like their whole thing was, which Alaska was also living, was like, we're preserving hip hop culture, but we're fucking 24 telling people like how they need to respect it, like the history of it, even though we're been drinking legally for 3 years, and how like how fucking funny it is to them now being like, we dedicated our early 20s, be like, nah, man, like this is the real shit. Like,
yep. So let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, let's get into. I want to talk about what they've been doing in the meantime, in between time, leading
let's
up
do
to
that. Sounds good.
Right.
Call Out Culture with CineMasia, aka Dylan Green, Curly Castro sipping fucking juice on camera, not on the pod. We'll be back. Call Out Culture.
Shablam, shablow. Are the 4 elements keeping you down? Do you find yourself cutting your fingers every time you work on a flyer or an insert? Are you tired of being asked to boost your ads or buy ad space? Well, the boys at Griff Company, we have the solution for you. Now, all jokes aside, this is Wrecking Crew consultation. If you think that your hip-hop career can use a battery burst, do you feel like you want to have some type of counsel and a soundboard, or do you just need a good old pep talk? We can help you out here. Zilla Rocca and myself, Curly Castro, we are offering our consulting services at nominal fees. So if that's something you're interested in, shoot us an email, give us a call, and we'll help you out. Tell me, when was the first time you fell in love with hip-hop?
It's that time again, we're back. Career Crooks, me and Small Professor. New album, Never at Peace, available now worldwide, streaming on all platforms. Very, very, very limited pieces of merch left. You can scoop it at wreckingcrew.bandcamp.com. If you've heard the Live from the Liner Notes episode, you know what it is, you know what we're about. If you haven't, go back and peep it. Play the new record featuring Shrapnel, I Alive, and Donovan Days, Blueprint, DJ Manipulator, and that's all she wrote. New banger, me and Small Pro, Never at Peace, Career Crooks, available now.
Call Out Culture, man. The shit that doesn't make the show. Oh my god. We might throw some stuff on Patreon talking about how to Gatorade drinking from bathtub faucets. Urine that might be the color of a certain rapper's color schemes. All that shit. You just can't get it unless you're here with us live with CineMasia, aka Dylan Green. Talking Black Star on the podcast. All right, so we covered the first album. Before we get to the new record, a lot of stuff has happened. Yeah, like a lot.
Expectations. So after that record drops, did anybody here expect another Black Star, or did you expect what they ended up doing with their, separate groups? Blackjack Johnson, Reflection Eternal.
Nah,
Solo.
you know what, dude?
Right.
I thought, foolishly, because I saw them do a Black Star show Halloween night, probably like 2005 or 6, at the Electric Factory Castro. Show was fucking.
So you saw this live? This was some TV.
I saw them live. I saw Black Star live, and so this was at that point.
Crazy.
That was at that point 6 to 8 years, whatever, since the album dropped, and it was like full on Mos doing the Boogeyman shit. And it was after Move Something came out and Just to Get By came out and all those records. So it felt like a good time for them to come back out because they didn't have any new music and they were doing a show. And I was like, oh, okay. And the show was amazing.
One of those shows where they say we're performing Black Star album in its entirety, or it was just
it was just like it was kind of like when I saw like Mike and LP when the first Run the Jewels hit, where they would do like solo sets and at the end do Run the Jewels 1. So they would do like Mos would do a set, Kweli did a set, then they did Black Star. So that show was fucking incredible. And I saw Kweli, the first show I ever saw on my own. I saw Dilated and Reflection Eternal at like TLA, and then I saw Mos on the Lyricist Lounge tour with Blackjack Johnson, and it was the same night the Bamboozled premiered, and he was late coming to Philly, so I saw him live. And then I saw Mos again. I think that was it. But anyway, I saw Kweli open for Beastie Boys in like 2004 at the First Union Center or Wells Fargo Center. So I seen them both like in separate times of their careers, just kind of doing shows to make money or like doing stuff, but seemingly being like, okay, like all of that shit is cool. We have our solo success. Now we link back up, and that was 15 years ago. So it kept being like a thing of, you know how like Dame Dash, every fucking interview he does with people that don't follow him are always asking about Rockefeller and Jay-Z, and he's always like, why don't you ask that man? Kweli, every fucking interview is like, when's the next Black Star coming? You know what I mean? No one's like asking Mos because he's doing like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or he's in like 16 Blocks or Italian Job or whatever. But I felt like he was
a movie star at that point already.
Right. He was
doing
famous.
He was doing a lot of other things than what Kweli was doing. What I noticed though, Z, not to interrupt you, was, features was still solo. They never really did any featuring Black Star, and I would hunt those songs down. That's Ali. They have a song on Ali, I think. They would do like songs.
The Little Brother song, Little Brother.
Yes, Little Brother. Like they would do songs here and there, so I would do this hunt, and I would notice they would do songs, but you would never really catch them featuring on somebody's song, like say De La would feature on a track, or
they would be separate. It would always be separate.
It would be separate. And so then I was starting like, And also I was of the mind that Black Star was enough for me. I didn't think they needed to make another record because I was so endeared with their solo and group careers, meaning Reflection Eternal and then Mos Def. So I didn't think that was necessary. So my expectations was a little different. I don't know if anybody agreed with me or wanted more Black Star, but I was one of those people like, that's a good piece. Let that sit, because then almost immediately they got back into their solo styles. Like,
because then Black on Both Sides came out, and then Reflection Eternal.
Exactly.
Right after.
Yeah. So it was like almost like not a trick, but a way to get two birds with one stone. Let's put them together on this one record.
I think that was the point of the first album, was like it served as the launching point for both of the things they had already set. I think they may have said that either Alaska on the Luminary show or on the People's Party show, where like basically it was a promotional vehicle for both of them solo to go for it. But the album was so big and did so well, it was like, well, we kind of have something here, but then clearly like it was never a priority.
They didn't take advantage of it. They didn't.
No, they really didn't.
They didn't do things in conjunction with each other underneath the Black Star banner to make it more of a thing. They didn't seem like they were interested in that route.
No, but the crazy thing is, like, they could have made a lot of fucking money. Like,
they could have
a lot of money.
Alaska, what were your expectations?
I didn't really have any. I think, it's sort of like, it just seemed like they were going in different directions, and the sort of delivery system for them, like Raucous, started falling apart.
Right.
And, you sort of started seeing behind the illusion of their success.
Yes.
Like,
so.
most went gold, but then you found out that they bought like 200,000 copies.
Yep, those would come. That word
Def
would come
Jam
out.
move,
Yeah,
the old Def Jam mechanism.
Yeah, so like, you know,
was real.
which made me think that Black Star in general probably wasn't as big as we thought they were.
Mhm.
Okay,
You know, they were iconic in certain circles, but they weren't like something that the industry maybe thought that they needed to do. Like if they came out in 2010, I think they'd probably be dropping album after album.
Right.
You know, similar to what Arm & Hammer has going on right now.
Yeah.
But it just didn't seem like they wanted it, or really anybody else wanted it for that matter. Like I never really heard anybody being like, "When's that next Black Star album coming out?"
That didn't seem like the plan. That didn't seem like the plan at all. Yeah.
No, and you know, people started turning on Kweli pretty early.
Reflection Eternal though was like a life raft for him because there was such good equity with the high tech beats and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that bought him time before the curtain was pulled.
Yeah.
High tech was definitely a cheat code for Kweli around that time. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, he started having some hits with Kanye and stuff too.
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
He did.
Oh yeah. What are you gonna say, Dylan?
Well, since you encountered it a little late and you already were into the orbit of Kweli and Mos, what were your expectations? Did you think they should have done another one by the time you found out about it?
Not particularly, no. Like I was kind of fine with it. I also forgot to mention earlier that Brown Skin Lady is one of my favorite songs of all time. I love
First
that
song they ever made.
Yeah. Like
love
that song. Maybe one of my like top 5 favorite rap love songs ever created. Beautiful song. But like I didn't really have like it would have been cool, but it wasn't something that I was like, oh man, like when's number 2 coming? You know, like I was already big on I was big on the New Danger, which I don't think a lot of people were. I feel like people were kind of that was kind of divisive. Yeah, definitely. But you know, like I was I wasn't really like ready for like it's definitely not like I was almost trying to think of it as like a backpack rap, like detox type of thing, but it wasn't really that, you know, like nobody I knew was like, oh, like when's Black Star number 2? Like, it was a cool thing. And then they went off and did their own shit. And then, you know, like
it existed as a question for Kweli in interviews. Like that was the lifeline.
That's what I said. Right.
Yeah, definitely. But like, but like, it's crazy because like outside of like a Reflection Eternal and the stuff Kweli was doing with Kanye, and then like a few other things, like I was really more on the Yasiin train. Like I was like the Ecstatic came out and like that fucking like I was already in my Stones throwback at that point. So like that came out and I was like, oh, this is everything I've ever wanted. Like Yasiin over Madlib beats. Like come on, like let's go.
Oh no,
like
Oh no's on that album too.
And oh no, like and he's got and Dilla, yeah, fucking History. Like History might be one of their best songs ever. Like it might be better than a lot of like I want to say it's like up there with the best of fucking Black Star. Like
so good.
Like it's stupid. Like and I'm reading the Dilla book right now, and there's a bit in the Dilla book where they mention the making of History, but Dan Charnas doesn't mention the song by name, but he just mentions that he made a song for Yasiin and Talib, and I was like, oh, that's History, isn't it? You know, like just shit. Like so yeah, like I wasn't, but yeah, to answer your question, Cass, I wasn't like it would have been cool if I got it, but it wasn't something that I was like chomping at the bit for. Like you know, like I was at that point in my life where I was waiting for the Child Rebel Soldier album from fucking Kanye, Lupe, and Pharrell. Like that was my detox.
Us
like that
placers,
was what I was waiting for.
Us placers,
man. I wrote a whole article about how that song changed my life, man. Us Placers is fucking incredible. Man. But like that was so like I wasn't thinking about no Black Star.
Wow.
Like
Yo, so you know what's fire as we're talking about all this shit, like all the collabos they did and the Mos Def and Yasiin, the Brown Sugar soundtrack.
Okay.
The Brown Sugar soundtrack.
There's some Mos on there of him playing cabbie, him being cabbie.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And all the beats are like post Blueprint Kanye radio joints. Like post post Blueprint, pre College Dropout, just Kanye production, and Mos is like Faith Evans is on joints. They got a song with Kweli that's crazy about them becoming dads. Yo, that album, it's like basically a 5-pack of Mos and Kanye, right? And then Kanye hits with Dropout, where Mos is on 2 Words with Freeway, and then Kweli is on Get 'Em High with Common.
Yep.
So then I see, and then they remember when Mos, I'm gonna keep saying Mos and Yasiin, but at that time Mos was hosting Def Comedy or Def Poetry, and he brought out Kanye. He brought out Kweli to do pieces. So like all of these things, they just kept being around each other and doing a lot of records and being on albums together, but not as Black Star, right? As we're saying,
right.
But they kept hammering it like we're still with each other. We're on each other's records. And
also, it didn't Soul Clarion exist at this?
But that point was probably over with by like
But they were in Soul Clarion. Both of them were in the Soul Clarion.
Kind of. I guess.
Soul Clarion, the idea of Soul Clarion.
The idea, like the OK player.
Yasiin definitely was, but Talib not really. Like they mentioned.
I'm talking about that illusion of it. Remember that photo spread?
The vibe shit.
That they all were working on it all together.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so here's. I'm glad you brought that up. Here's the thing I want to talk about, and Dylan pointed out New Danger, right? And I think this ties into what Alaska said before about like it was becoming more apparent, even though, as I'm saying, they were on a lot of the same records, a lot of big albums, Def Poetry, all that shit, like tours, Chappelle, that whole lane, Block Party, all of that. They're all in these things, right? But I feel like the mark in the sand was the New Danger, where Mos is like, check it out. The happy-go-lucky, warm Brooklyn b-boy guy, that's over.
Okay.
Fuck that. Like, I'm setting it on fire. Like George Michael with the fucking leather jacket and the Freedom 91 video. Like, that's done. So I'm going to be rocking with dudes from Bad Brains. I'm going to be doing Blackjack. Like, that's over. No Backpack, no Slick Rick, no BDP, no 80s Block Party, which was his whole lane. Up until that, everything he did was 80s. He was jacking the 80s.
Right.
It was funny, like chastising Puffy for doing the pop shit, but he was just taking every 80s flow and song and hook, every song he made. And that's my guy. I love him. I don't care. But once the New Danger, it is. But the New Danger was just like, Kweli's now on the record. High Tech's now on the record. Sean J. Pierce, like that's over.
We always talk about subverting expectations when it comes to fan bases and what they want you to do and how they want you to tin soldier. All right, we're ready for the next record, but we want it on our terms, and the New Danger was definitely on his terms.
Yeah, and I was working at the record store. That shit came out the next day. People were trying to return it. They're like, I hate this album. Because they wanted Black on both sides too. And I felt the same way. I'm like, it's kind of weird. It's definitely weird, but he had like the rape over when he's rhyming on the takeover. It's
very anti-raucous. None of those producers were on that.
That's what I'm saying.
Not many. No 88 keys, no geology and all that stuff.
But that time that sound was dead though.
Right. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Why would you go?
But just the fact, I agree with you, Alaska, but the fact that you just didn't see those names in the manifest.
He had like Kanye do like Sunshine, which is like a whatever ass beat from Kanye at the time when Kanye's printing money. You know what I mean? Like even that, everything was just kind of like a rebellious move. We're gonna say that.
Who produced the Panties? I don't remember because
I think
love
Minnesota.
That song.
I think Minnesota did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that song too. That joint is.
Minnesota put his ankle in that beat. That shit is crazy.
Minnesota. I'm looking at it right now. He did. The weirdest part is he did Close Edge, which was him in the car.
He did the hip-hop sounding joints.
But like Close Edge and the Panties are like Close Edge is kind of like almost kind of like a live keyboard beat, but then the Panties is like some Marvin Gaye shit. You know what I mean? Like, but he has like it's like Sex, Love, and Money, fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like Ghetto Rock. This is the sound. Ghetto Rock. That shit is Blackjack Johnson, NYC. That shit is crazy. Sun and the Moon, Earth, Stars, and Planet. Like this, he's never really been the Black on Both Sides, Respiration, raucous dude from New Danger. Like New Danger to me is like never going back to that guy again. And but Kweli was like, he had all the goodwill from Reflection Eternal and what was the first song? The one that 50 rhymed over and Snoop. Body. Any questions? What body? You.
Kweli.
Body. What the name?
The
Blast. That shit, man. That shit was everywhere.
That was
before
everywhere.
Get By.
Really hit. But I think to me that's more high tech than what's Kweli.
Right. But it's still very much like keeping that raucous sound going, but on like a more major label piece. And then when Get By hits, he takes like the Kanye, like the steroided version of that with the Nina Simone sample and John Legend, and keeping that going on Quality. Whereas like most, I said when Kweli had Kanye, he's getting hits and Jay-Z's name dropping him. Most gets Kanye to get like a throwaway fucking B-side ass beat. You know what I mean?
Was
like,
definitely burning down the machine, whereas Kweli was trying
in
to
it, like thriving. He was thriving in the machine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And he made his own label and shit too, right? That was around the time he made the label.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
We talked about that on one show we just did about like one of the saddest labels was like the worst artist run labels. I think we said Blacksmith. One of the shows we just did. I can't remember. So, all right. So, any your final thoughts real quick before we take a break and get to the new Black Star album on like the middle turf area of the Black Star?
No, I mean they were establishing themselves and definitely were becoming like pillars in the hip hop community. Everybody knew who Yasiin was. Everybody knew who Kweli was. They maintained relevance. I'll say that they never like kind of dipped off or were taking big sabbaticals. Even though they would like most would take his time in between, but it wasn't like. Whereas most he's missing, like we weren't like hunting him down, even when it seemed like that was about to happen. When he got, what was the whole thing? What's the word? I'm sorry. Deported. When he got the whole deportation issue.
Right, the South Africa shit. Yeah.
Right. I thought there would be a big lull, but I remember he was making songs maybe like 3 weeks after we heard about that. So that wasn't that big a speed bump where I thought it would be. So I'm just saying they maintain relevance throughout all of this.
We know what's weird as you're saying this? I'm just looking up the timeline of the Mos Yasiin Bey solo discography, right? So you had Black Star 98. Okay. Black on both sides, 99. Umi says all that shit, huge, right? 5 years goes by and he does New Danger. Right? So during those 5 years, you get like the Reflection Eternal record, you get and probably 1 to 2 solo Kweli records. Right, and then but Kweli's like
Mos is featuring on stuff. He's on a couple of.
He is, but that's like the big, like we said before. That's at the beginning of him acting and being in big fucking movies, right? So then you get New Danger in 2004, True Magic in 2006, which I remember he literally like did nothing for. It came out in a CD with no jacket. It was a blank case.
It was a plastic case,
right? And he has like Hurricane, like Katrina Clap, and like. That album is another one. It's got like 3 or 4 great songs, and everything else is
a lot of throwaways.
It's really weird.
Shit.
He was trying to get off the label with that. That was his like, here, take this, I'm done. Now because he was trying to get off Geffen, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and he has like the one song he's rhyming on like Liquid Swords. It's like a mixtape. It's just like basically a mixtape, and then that's a 2-year gap between albums, and then he does the Ecstatic 3 years later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. But then we don't get anything until 2016, that December 99th album, which is fucking disastrous.
Garbage. Oh
that
my
is
God.
Hot trash. So that's a 7-year gap. So he's just really just does what he wants. But he's like been showing us like, even when I do drop, you don't know if this is going to be inspired and fire like Ecstatic or mostly garbage. like everything else in his discography is like mostly garbage. You know what I mean? If he puts out a 17-song album, 5 are good. Yeah, I was here though.
And then his Gorillaz features were all really excellent too.
Sweepstakes.
Sweepstakes and Stylo.
What's the timeline of him in the ski stuff? When is that drop? When is that? When he was
24-hour karate school. It's like that was like the ecstatic era, and then he pulled himself off the retail.
Okay, yeah.
That's when he did like Cream of the Planet. He did the shit with Jay Elect, Currency shit. Yeah, then he cut his vocals. He pulled his vocals off. The Taxi song. Oh, Taxi was amazing.
Do you have those?
I do.
I
have all of them. I have. He has a song called Prowler. It's him. It's him, Jean Grey, Joel Ortiz, and Jay Electronica, and then his verse is cut off the retail.
Wow.
And he fucking smashes. That's like the peak JLX. He destroys all of them. And it's like gone.
Let's not forget Traveling Man with DJ Honda.
Traveling Man. Oh, that's you know what's crazy about Traveling Man? That was like a Napster LimeWire Kazaa breakthrough.
Yeah.
Where it's like one of them songs where we knew it because there was a video, DJ Honda, all that shit. But it would be like I would be like 20 playing that shit, and then my girlfriend from fucking Pittsburgh, her 14-year-old brother's like, I love that Mos Def song, Traveling Man. I'm like, how the fuck do you know? He's like, LimeWire. It was like a LimeWire. Like all these kids were fucking with Traveling Man. Traveling Man remix is crazy. You ever hear the remix? They flipped the Run DMC shit.
Ooh. You know what's wild? Blue and Exile sampled Traveling Man on the new record they put out a couple of years ago.
Ooh.
It's a snippet of his verse at the end. Oh, I forget the name of the song, but it's one of my favorite songs on that Blue and Exile album. And like, I
gotta peep that now.
Yeah,
Traveling Man.
No, I'm gonna send you the song later because that album was excellent. Like, I don't want to detract too much, but that album's fucking excellent.
He had this other song that randomly popped. Me and my family were at Hershey Park a couple weeks back. I had like my iTunes whole library on shuffle. I got I have like 800,000 songs, whatever. And there's one song he did for the Biker Boys soundtrack, California, came on, where he flips California Love by Pac and Dre. But he like sing it. He's like, California knows how to party. It is cool as shit. And I was like, he was doing these random crazy one-offs like Massive Attack, Eye Against Eye on Blade soundtrack, Blade 2. Yeah, that shit is the greatest.
Wow.
Eye Against Eye. He was smoking, man. He could anything he touched, he was crushing it. He just wasn't doing albums, but he was his pen was like Double Trouble and Things Fall Apart with him and Black Thought is fucking wild. Like everything,
and his voice too. Like his voice, he might have maybe one of the best rap voices ever. Like he's up there with like it's like him, it's like Gucci and like
Method Man.
God damn, Method Man. Like, come on, like just voices that you hear and it's like, oh, there it is, and it just cuts through everything.
Damn.
Like,
he's well. You kind of shit on the voice on the new album. We'll get to that. You kind of take a little shot at the voice.
A little bit.
You get a little off the fucking rails here with the voice, but that's neither here nor there. Alaska, any final thoughts before we take a break?
No, I mean, I think, it was a perfect time for everything to come out when it came out, and there's no need for anything more.
Boom. He's very eloquent as usual. Very, very succinct. Very brief. We like it. All right, we're going to take the next break, and then we're going to come back after this and talk the new album. What's it called again? There Is No Time. We're out of time.
No fear of time.
No fear of time. How could I forget?
The one.
So we're out of time.
Out of time. No, that was the REM album. Out of time. All right, we'll be back with Dylan Green, CineMasia from Real Notes Podcast. Call Out Culture. We'll be back. Sponsored by Michelob Ultra.
Has this ever happened to you? You go to drink a hot drink, but it's too hot and it burns your mouth.
God damn it.
So you cool it down with an ice cube, but the ice cube is haunted. Now you hear the voice of the governess echoing through your head, even though she's been dead for hundreds of years. Now you're at work. Your boss is talking to you, but all you can hear is, I know who killed me. I know who killed me. You've got to help the governess. But you won't be able to. Not while your boss is talking. Not while he's alive. Now you're on the run. It'll be nightfall soon, and you only have an hour left of kerosene in your flashlight. Why did you buy a flashlight that runs on kerosene? You hear the sirens in the distance. It won't be long now. Luckily, there's a solution. Call Me When You're Outside, the new album by Steel Tip Dove, is available now on Backwoods Studios Records. Limited run of vinyl and CDs available on backwoodsstudios.com. Digital album available on all digital streaming sites.
What up, y'all? It's Panels, man. East Hampton Polar Boys. When the catalog out now, man. We got CDs, merch, all that. InsubordinateRecords.com, man. Make sure you don't sleep on it, because before you know it, it's going to be all gone. So make sure you head over there, stream it, do all that. Long live Lord Jones, man. Winning catalog album of the year. You know what it is. Peace.
Hey yo, she caught me fly woo garments from overseas, Bolognese with extra palm, drown rotini, fresh panini, ground bill, chopped garlic and olives, get demolished, fly arrow goddess, never modest, perfect sonics fill my palace, wires missing, acoustics hitting, needle bless the vinyl, been the champion, just give me the
Germicide and The Expert present their new psychedelic hip-hop album, The Overview Effect. Think Marvin Gaye meets Edon. If you like tripped out sounds, sinister strings, fuzz guitars, and heavy drums with social content, then this album is for you. Featuring the new singles For the Money, Black Tears, and A Little Love. Guest appearances on the album come from Stick Figure, Farrah Ale, and Tanya Morgan. Available on vinyl and all digital platforms with a special Bandcamp exclusive vinyl that comes with liner notes, a custom art print, plus the album instrumentals. Visit theexpert.bandcamp.com now.
All right, Call Out Culture, we're back. The podcast, we're here. Fuck with us on Twitter, man. Twitter is popping. Our IG it's solid. Our YouTube, I don't even pay attention, but all the stuff's on YouTube too. So shouts to that. I am on TikTok. The show is not. Whatever. So come fuck with us. And then Patreon again.
Mention this fucking TikTok.
You don't even listen to the show, man. Relax. TikTok is where you're gonna be. Patreon again. Shouts to everybody on Patreon. You get the shows early. You get the one shots, exclusive little mini episodes.
Of course I listen to a show. It's our show. It's my show. Of course I listen to it. Even if I didn't hear it, I listen to it in my mind.
All right, well, that's incredible. So the Astral played like Legion. So here we go. So we're gonna talk about the new album now called Time Keeps on Slipping Into the Future. New album by Black Star. I can't remember the name of this shit. I like it a lot.
It's called No Fear of Time.
No
bro.
Fear of Time. There's just been so many time-centric things in my life at this point with titles. It's just hard to place one. So, new album. We brought on Dylan Green because this guy's fucking disrespectful. He fires shots at legends, doesn't give a fuck. He's young and cocky and brash. You know, he's making the scene like fucking Bookman. You know, his go along gag. You know, do whatever he wants. No, we're kidding. So he has some interesting takes. You know, he's a mild-mannered kid with a good head on his shoulders. But, you know, I feel like he and Alaska may have differing opinions. So I want to let Dylan Green shine. You know, go in on the Pitchfork review. He gave it a fucking 2.3. The rest of the staff beefed it up to a 6.8. Staff were like, you can't do that. He was like, fuck these guys too. Now, so I'm gonna open the floor. Hit us with your summary of what you wrote, or just want to come from the heart and just shit on them a little bit harder. Whatever you want to do. That's all you. Go ahead.
Oh man! All right, so let me get my mind together because I'm trying to I have it open right now. I gotta like read through what I saw here. So I was not huge on this. I'm really sorry to say. I was pretty excited to have like it was cool to think about it, and then I heard some of it. And I'm just like, oh, they don't really sound like they're in sync like that. Some of these beats are not really doing it for me. I heard one repeat and I was like, why wouldn't y'all want to get like 9 original Madlib beats? Like, why do this if you're not gonna like it just felt like and then to like put it up behind like the Luminary paywall and have to like shit on people to be like, oh well, like the millennials are for sale. It's like, you're for sale, motherfucker. Like you put your shit on the thing. Like I get it, and like more power, and like obviously more power to the artists for like wanting to get money and have that direct to consumer relationship, but like there are so many people who like don't have access to Luminary, and it's like, how are they supposed to listen to it? You can't even just like make like a real quick mock-up like blackstar.net and like sell the shit for like $15. Like, you know, I'm just like, they just made it like everything about this was just kind of like, it just felt like they didn't care to me, and like they just kind of did it because it's like, oh well, we got the Luminary deal, so let's just make a Black Star album. And you know, like the whole story of Talib having to like get Mos to record it while they were backstage at shows and in hotels, and have like the engineer just kind of like hovering like, oh, you ready? Like, what are we doing here, fellas? Like, but there were some songs that I really enjoyed. but I don't want to take up too much space and air. But I was not feeling this the way that I would have liked to have felt it.
I mean, I thought it was cool. I went into it expecting an absolute shit show. And when it wasn't, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I enjoy it more than the old Black Star record, to be honest with you.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I think it's like, it feels modernized. The production doesn't bother me that much. Like, I feel like it's one of those things, like from the artist side, where it's like you record it and you get your rough mix, and your rough mix ends up sounding better to you than any like well done studio mix. Like, you fall in love with your rough mix. So I think like it kind of sounds like maybe that, like they just sort of like fell in love with it the way it is. I don't know if they tried to mix it beyond that, but I get that feeling. Like, I have a lot of stuff I put out, like after it's all mixed and the vocals are redone, I'm like, damn, it lost the energy. So like, it could have been, I don't know if it was an intentional choice or not to keep it that way. Talib was listenable. He didn't have 4 extra words in every bar that made it sound forced. Yeah, it's cool. Like, it's not my favorite record by any means, but I was like, I enjoyed it quite a bit more than I ever expected to. So I think my initial reaction might have been like, holy shit, this is really good. I've listened to it a few times since. I'm like, oh, it's cool. Like, I'll keep some songs in my rotation, which is pretty much like everything from Mos Def and Black Star at this point for me, as we've discussed throughout the whole podcast. Like,
right.
So yeah, I enjoy it. I don't got any beef with it.
I think that's valid. I mean, like, not that I need to validate your opinion, obviously, but like, I just there's a few songs on here that I really, really enjoy. Like, I really love the song of Black Thought, even though I think he kind of like wiped the entire fucking earth with the two of them, like, and just didn't even try. Like, he just like came and like breathed on the mic, and then they were just kind of trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that was. I had the opposite reaction. I was like,
that was the worst Black Thought verse of his life.
Check it.
Yeah, but then I heard this song with Black Thought and Danger Mouse like 2 days later. I was like,
there he is.
Is Black Thought rhyming like this on that song?
So
okay, I'll give it to you. That song is better.
The way I took the record was, it's 2 people doing 2 different things on one project. So that eliminated the cohesion for me. Because one, you got Talib. This is like his last salvo. He's having bad PR all over the place. He needed this to kind of land a certain way for him to kind of maintain his pulse. He's not going anywhere, but this record is more important to him than it is for Yasiin. Yasiin could have really laid an egg. It really didn't even matter. It's not going to really affect him. And then as far as Yasiin, to me, it seems like he's workshopping. To me, he don't start rhyming good till Yonder. And the other things are kind of sounding like workshopping. You know what I'm saying? Last, like, working through some rhythms, singing something. Some of his ideas sound half finished. Some don't.
Like vocal references, definitely.
Right. It don't sound like he's landing, or like he wrote everything. Maybe he wrote half of it and freestyled the rest. It sounds like he's workshopping to me. Whereas Kweli's trying to prove something. Because if we have to admit it, Kweli kind of out-raps most on the entire project.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Kweli needed to out-rap or at least rap. You know what I'm saying? That this is like almost oxygen for him, because he's like gasping for air in his current.
He definitely has more to lose in this situation.
Exactly. He's gasping for air, so he had to kind of come correct. He couldn't really have any duds on this joint.
True.
To be honest with you. Whereas Mos has a lot more room to breathe, to workshop, to try things out. Some of his singing to me didn't land until later in the record. So like to me, Yonder on, that's when the record starts lifting up to me. So I wouldn't say I was disappointed. I had very low expectations. I was like Alaska. I thought it would be an entire shit show. But as far as the sum of its parts, I'm still a little disappointed in the sense that the Mad Lib beats are tertiary. They're like the third or fourth thing you even consider with this. Like they're the last thing you even consider, which is kind of interesting. I've seen Mad Lib do this before, but I've also seen Mad Lib do Liberation with Kweli, which is really good.
That's kind of that's fire.
You know what I'm saying? But this, I've seen Madlib do beats that do just lie in the background on some people's projects, some of his instrumentals, but I didn't think he would do that with this. And that goes to what Kweli was picking, because Mos obviously didn't pick a damn thing, because Kweli definitely was involved with this project where Mos was just like, catch me in, Chattanooga or St. Louis or whatever, and we'll do something.
Right. And then the engineer just like, yeah, you ready? Like,
yeah, so this project meant a whole lot more to Kweli than it did to Mos, and that imbalance is a little obvious with some of the performances.
Right.
So I would give it a passing grade. You know what I'm saying? When things have this long a breath, like I even mentioned, we were talking, offline about like RPM, reflections per minute that Reflection Eternal did. And when you have that big a gap in between records, a lot of stuff happens. Either it works, like Only Built for Cuban Links 2, in terms of the gap between those two records to connect the tissue, or that RPM record is such a departure from Train of Thought. Is this even the same group? You know what I'm saying? You can legitimately even ask that. There's so much has changed. And sometimes, things change. You don't necessarily get the same project per se. A Juvenile record today is not going to sound like a Juvenile record back in the day. But I think Juvenile, but certain people like Juvenile per se have skills he can resurrect that. Like, y'all remember Snoop just recently did that like 187 record or whatever, where he was kind of going back to some of his old styles or whatever. He still can tap
and that was
into
pretty
that.
Cool.
That was dope.
It don't sound corny. It's not corny. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely not corny.
Right. So, anyway, so that, that was my thing. I think I just gave it's a passing grade. It's an interesting conversation starter. It doesn't enhance their catalog. If you can even call what they do a catalog, it's only 2 records. And,
I like that it's so different than the previous record. Like,
I'm with that.
It's like we're seeing these men at 50 years old.
Right.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So it's like they're coming from a completely different place in their life than they were there. It's a different energy.
Yeah.
Wild different places in their life. And I think that, it's like you look at other 50-year-olds putting out music, nobody's even close to as good as this, right? Except for maybe Black Thought.
Right.
I can agree with you on that.
What about the Tribe album? Because I really like that last Tribe album a lot.
We brought that up, but here's the difference. Dave. Me and Zilla was just talking about that actually today. The Tribe album just dropped, like, let's say a meteor. There was no run up to it. You didn't really know about it. We didn't even know they were recording. We didn't know Fife's condition. It was all of that thing going on. Whereas this one has always been the lead up. When's the next Black Star album? All of this talk and chibber chabber before we even knew that they were even putting nose to the grind and actually working on the record.
Oh, and real quick, here's what has been thrown out of the narrative. They had an album with Madlib 10 years ago flipping Aretha Franklin samples and never came out. And they have a set with J-Rock DJing for them on the Stephen Colbert Report before he left Comedy Central. During Ecstatic Era Mos, like when he was rocking the red microphone. And they did the Black Star shit that time, saying, yo, it's Aretha Franklin, Madlib, us. And that shit just fucking vanished in the air like burning up a letter from an ex-girlfriend. That shit is gone. So they were planting these seeds for 10 plus years.
Right. And on top of that,
that leads you to possible disappointment and or performing under par when you have all of this weird expectation floating ahead of them. Well, go ahead, D.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, like with the Madlib shit, like the reason I'm so like, I know there's so many, like, I know Madlib didn't give them, like, there are people who had these beats that like made music.
Chris Crack.
And they Chris Crack's one of them. Fly Anakin's one of them. Like Fly Anakin has a song over the last.
He had to get back. He had to get back.
Like,
West Side Guns got one of those beats.
So like, and the kid Maxo from California too. He has the same West Side Gun beat. He's crazy.
Maxo.
But like, Maxo, he's crazy. But like, so there's like a pack that like 17 other people had, and they just and they're just kind of like, that's why it's just like a lot of these, like, not like, I don't want to say scraps, but it's like But it's like if you're gonna come back and do
These
this
weren't
after
made to
24
order.
years,
These weren't made to
exactly,
order.
exactly, because like you look at Gibbs gets his shit made to order. Doom got his shit made to order.
Massage
so like,
seats, bro. They ain't got
like,
no massage seats on there.
son. Like I'm saying,
They ain't got no beats like Giannis or Palmolive.
They've been gone for 24 years and they didn't get Madlib to give them all original. Like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we not doing this if you're not gonna really go whole hog? Like, I'm not trying to hear you on a Madlib beat I heard 2 years ago. Like, come on, bro.
Talk
like
that shit. Talk that shit.
Don't fucking waste my time, son. Please.
That's where I'm getting at when I'm saying the Mos Def side of the thing is workshopping. You know what I'm saying? It seems like this could have been just a evening in the studio. Madlib throwing some. Madlib left his beat tape. He told you, just go rifle through it. And as they're going through it, he's just freestyling stuff over it. You know what I mean? Like, not saying, because I don't think there's a lot of throwaway Mos on it. That's not what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of like fully formed ideas, there's no high end Mos production here in terms of like songs like Mathematics or anything of the level of Ecstatic. There's no conceptual songs on here past on the song about a girl and, some typical ones, but there's no high end hip hoppery going on here. And that's all I'm saying.
Right. My favorite band might be the closest that Yasiin kind of comes to like doing that a little bit, because there's like a bit in there about like the pharaohs in Egypt, and like there's like a bit specifically about like a specific pharaoh, like, but like, yeah, he just, I'm gonna be honest, he kind of sounds bored on a lot of these songs, like not even like workshopping. It's just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna go do, you got like 45 set, okay, here you go. Like he just sounds kind of just like bored.
I think there's too much evidence of us. It's not hidden enough, because sometimes it happens, but there's too much, and not to discredit what you're saying, Alaska, about the quality of it, but there's too much. There's too much evidence of Kweli dragging Mos to the finish line with the thing.
So just real quick on this. You guys know like any of the history on the record?
Other than the little whispers that we were talking about, no. Because
they did a podcast, if you get like
on
the Luminary thing, where they do it and they talk about it. This album's been done for a couple of years.
Right.
Got you. Okay.
Like, I don't know if that makes you feeling better or worse because they've had it for a couple of years and it's still this like unpolished. But so like a lot of stuff we're talking about, like Talib treading water, like that might not even that could be the things that we're putting onto the record.
Right.
Okay.
I think Mos, I don't know what's going on with Mos, but when you hear him talk on that podcast, he sounds like he's either constantly drunk or he might have had like a series of mini strokes.
I think it's just how he talks.
Yeah, you think so? Because
he always kind of talks like this when he's speaking.
He talks like
his mush mouth. Like he has like a wired jaw.
Mush mouth than he used to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like he's talked like that a lot though over the years.
The last Yasiin interview I saw was when he went on Hot 97, and I think this might have been around the time. It was like right before, like maybe right after he retired. I don't remember, but like he's kind of been, because you compare that to like the video of him. Y'all seen the video of him doing the Guantanamo Bay force feeding thing, because like he was kind of talking like that, and that was very rough. But yeah, like he's kind of he just kind of sounds like he's just like here, and it's like, yeah, I'm here, we're chilling, do it. Like, okay.
So Alaska, I might have missed it. I'm sorry. Why did you really like this album? Did you cover that?
Well, I said I went in expecting a complete shit show.
Okay.
And I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, this shit's way better than I expected. So on initial listen, that was really fucking dope. And I've gone back a couple times, and it's not as good as that initial thought, but I still enjoy it. Like I like it. I think it's dirty.
Yes.
It's sort of, I like the unpolishedness of it. Like I kind of like shit like that. Like it just takes me back to like a certain period without like retracing those steps. Like it has energy that I like, but it's not trying to sound like something from the past.
No,
which I appreciate. And then I just wanted to address the question about the Tribe album.
Right.
Yeah.
That was right. I kind of like felt the same way with the Tribe album. I expected a shit show, and I was pleasantly surprised. But I also think that album really benefited from when it dropped.
I want to talk on that. Yes.
We all
That's
need
fair.
really good news when that album dropped.
Right,
Yeah,
it dropped the
fair.
day after fucking Trump.
Yeah, the day
They were,
after.
and they were expecting Hillary because
Yeah.
because Tip mentions a female president
Yep,
Yeah.
on Space Program. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like all right, here's a good Tribe record.
Mhm.
We all need to pick me. Like I haven't listened to that album in 2 years easily.
Mhm.
I don't know if anybody else does, but I feel like
I
most
bumped
people
it. I bumped it here
go
and
back
there.
and check it out.
I
A
love it.
lot of good fight. Zilla, what was your we all went around and did it.
Oh, okay.
What was your opinion on the record?
Oh yeah, no, come on.
Yeah, I knew of the Aretha Franklin album from like 10 years ago. So I was like, well, maybe this is that. They're just calling it something different. So I played it, and then I was like working all day doing shit. I was just playing music that whole day. And it kind of came and went, and I was like, oh, all right. I mean, weird. This album's over. I don't really remember anything. And then I went back and listened to it again, and I was like, okay, the TMT shit. I was like, this song's fucking hard as hell. TMT, automatic. That shit is crazy. I was like, okay. And then I was like, wow, Kweli is like really kind of getting busy on this record. I have to begrudgingly admit that. And then once Alaska said he got the Luminary app, and I got the Luminary app, and I just listened to the entire Midnight Miracle run in like a day. And then during them making that show, they're like playing snippets of the album, talking about the album. And then you hear them talk about why they created, why they're doing it on their own platform. I think people can have a different experience of the record if you fuck with the Luminary app and listen to the Midnight Miracle and then go into this record, because then you get like the album's short. It's only like 9 songs, and like we're saying, it doesn't have songs like Brown Skin Lady or anything like that, or Thieves in the Night, but all the talk and discussion, you hear what they were thinking and doing. My problem with the record, my only real issue is, I said this to Castro, it should have hit when it was made. Like, this should have came out summer of George Floyd.
I agree.
Having this album sit for a year or two, where now it's like, what are our biggest problems? Inflation. This isn't an inflation album. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like a social unrest reaction record, because they were making it at that time. Like, them talking about white supremacy and all that shit. Like, talk about like congressmen being Nazis and all that. Like, it really has the fervor of 2020 and early 2021, not May 2022. It feels really out of time. You know what I mean? So that's my only real issue with it, is when you hear the context of it, it doesn't make sense for them to sit on it this long. What are you gonna say, Joe?
Right. Yeah. That. I'm sorry. That's you just like look at what happened with the Gibbs and Alchemist record, and like the song that him and Ross have, like that dropping around the time that like the fucking precinct in Minnesota got lit up, right. Like that, like I wonder, like, yeah, exactly. Like, I wonder what would have happened if that came out later, and I think right. It would have kind of run into a similar problem. And there was one other thing that we mentioned that I wanted to touch on. I'm already. Oh yeah. So people talking about Talib did have a couple really impressive moments on here. I really love most of Supreme Alchemy. I think like that's one of the songs. I think that's one of the songs that kind of comes closest to doing everything it needs to. But then you go back to Talib's verse on So Be It, and like that shit is just just like halfway through he just starts getting into like the I'm subatomic about it. I'm just like, yo, like stop. And the calendar. The calendar.
He keeps talking about the calendar and the bird. Yeah, that comes up a lot.
Most does kill So Be It really hard. Most destroys So Be It.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh wait, is that the joint he flips? Oh, he flips. So he did that verse 10 years ago on a song called White Drapes. I have that. So that's about a 12, 13-year-old verse. So that's recycled.
Yeah. Right. See, like, come on. Recycling verses and using old beats.
I'll send it to you.
Like, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, he did that. He did that verse when this was like his Dame Dash
No, I remember the video for White Drapes.
White Drapes, right? Sharper than a straight razor shank. From the worldwide currency, we wish them well coins. You're at Chuck D level, you're at petite level, have gun, do travel, spread love, kill devils. I know that whole verse. It came on. I'm like, oh, you threw that back out. Okay.
Yeah, suit up, dumbass. This ain't bum class.
Yeah,
like
smart
come
enough,
on,
dumbass.
like,
real forever real. You can hate it. I love that. It's bigger than hip hop. It's better than ever. Brooklyn, the world, win and not give a fucking this. You know, yeah. I've been banging that song, but you know, I'm weird. I was on Not Right downloading that shit.
That was almost as disappointing as hearing Sean Price repeat a verse on the fucking Apollo Brown Razkaz album. Like he repeated a verse from I can't remember what album it was, but it's just like, yo, like that's just like recycled verses and recycled beats. Like, come on, y'all. Like, really?
Yeah, it's not gonna cut it when it's all said and done. But at the same time, I don't know. I think if you looking at the both of them, the two different albums, the two different times, it's not that bad a nightcap. Like just to cap it off, just to put a to put a hat on the party goer. It's not too bad in terms of that. But I also think, high expectations, when you looked at what it was, when you found out about it, even before you listened to it, I think the expectations should have kind of muted themselves and you should have kind of went in there expecting a fair effort. 9 songs, the Mad Lib regurgitations, you know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody should have been expecting a Good Kid, Mad City or anything like that or anything.
Right, definitely not. Yeah.
I said to probably you guys separately. With the beats, it's like, number one, a producer only can show out based on what a rapper chooses. So they chose these beats that Kweli, Chris Crack had and Flanagan and Westside. They chose them shits again to use. Okay. But also outside of TMT, the rest of these beats, if you said to me like Sadhu Gold produced this, I'd be like, oh, okay. You'd be like, August Fanon did this album. Okay. Nicholas Craven did this album. Okay. I would believe you. There's no real signature Mad Lib anything on this album, which is weird that to me, he's like the weakest link, which I did not expect. I felt going on to be like, oh, well, the beats will be fucking crazy. You don't have like the beat switches and like the comedy records and like all the Mad Lib shit, the hyper compression or like the crazy bass lines. And there's a couple of really cool moments in production, but when it was over, I was like, anyone could have made this album production wise. Like he doesn't really like put his foot in the ass of, but again, how many beats has Mad Lib made? 15,000 beats sitting around his house. They chose these. They chose them. You know what I mean? So
like I I loved Supreme Alchemy as much as I did because like hard. Like that sounded like some like modern Shades of Blue type shit. And I love Mad Lib Shades of Blue.
Shades of Blue.
So like that just like that really. And also a rapper I love from Texas named Danny Watts. Shout out to Danny Watts, who made an album with John Wayne a couple of years back called Black Boy Meets World. John Wayne used that same sample on a song called Cards of the Devil that I'm gonna send y'all in the chat in a bit. So I heard it and I was like trying to place the sample. I'm like, where have I heard this before? And I was like, oh, it's the same one John Wayne flipped on Cards of the Devil. So yeah, I love the way that song sounds and Kweli is just like moving it. Like to me, that and there's like 2 or 3 others that are really like this is what I would have liked to see more of. Like if it was like that's where it didn't feel like, oh, like somebody's being forced to do this. That's where it all just kind of came together and it's like, this feels natural. This feels like they're all excited to be here. This feels like there's like ideas that aren't just like completed on their own, but like work together, which is weird because Supreme Alchemy is a Talib solo joint, but like, like there's like just stuff like that. And then a few other moments that I'm blanking on right now. Like the Automatic song, like stuff like that really just feels like everyone's on the same level, like the beat's good, the 2 of them are going crazy, and like it feels like, okay, we did this, like we're here, everyone's here, everyone's like they had their fucking powdered Gatorade, they're here, like we're here to play.
I just real quick, the chorus when he says Cocaine cracker than a honky tonk. Trailer park trash can trap house. Off top, all black, everything. TMT, fuck white supremacy. I'm like, that's the hardest fucking chorus ever. That shit is crazy. TMT, TMT. Yo, that shit is. But that was the first beat where I'm like, oh, this was like a Freddie Gibbs beat. Like Gibbs would have picked this shit. It's like some gangster shit. You know what I mean? Like that was the first time I'm like, oh, like Madlib decided to show up. Track 3, here he is.
Right,
everything else was like,
oh, yeah.
But the cool, if you listen to the Midnight Miracle on Luminary, they dropped that shit like 3 times.
Yeah.
But then they put all crazy effects on it, where like it's distorted and wild, and you're like, and they're reacting like to Malik B passing away, and like
right
in the moment when that shit was made, it's like everyone around them is excited about this shit, and then it's 2 years. It's like, oh, here it is on a podcast app. It's like, okay, well. Sure.
One more thing I forgot about. There's a terrible Talib bar at the beginning of the song where he said like you'll get arrested for domestic silence.
Oh my god.
I mean that's rough.
Yeah.
Bad.
I do want to shout out. I do like the cohesion of Mos Def going like he makes that bird whistle like 10 times. I love it. It's like a random ad lib. Like it just pops up. I'm like, that's kind of cool. So there you go.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah, final thoughts on the Black Star experience.
Black Star
like,
keep shining.
Because to me, like now with this record out, there's a little bit of the because I was just watching one of those the other day, now and then, or this. What is it? Those things like this is where we started, this is where we're at now.
Oh yeah, how it started, how's it going?
Yeah, that's what Black Star is right now. How it started, how's it going? We've taken an interesting journey with the two of them.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's disappointed about where they've landed. They've all had somewhat extensive catalogs. Kweli's left a lot to be desired. Mos Def tricked me into thinking he was a little more prolific than he was when Zilla read the discography. But I think, like I said, this doesn't seem like a bad nightcap if neither one of them rhyme again. It's not too much it's no tarnishing of the legacy, if you will. With this record, it's just another addition to the catalog, another little skinny CD to put next to the vinyl.
I expect it to be so much worse.
Okay, I'm with you on that one though. I definitely agree.
Disgustingly worse. Like I was expecting it to be like legacy.
Okay, so like on some unhearable bars, you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting that for most. It was just, it just seemed like a money grab or something. But I don't know if they're making any money off this. Nobody's going to Luminary, everybody's downloading it for free.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. People have been talking about how this is about to go triple platinum on Google Drive and shit. Like, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. But
Oh, real quick, I'm trying to find them ones on the Colbert Report. It was in 2011, and the shit has been removed for copyright issues that you can't find this.
There's probably a good reason that record didn't come out if it's all Aretha Franklin samples.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's expensive as fuck.
Yeah, especially after listening to like all the Dante Ross shit on. I've just been ripping through that this week.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
the amount of like money that goes out for samples is just wild.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been I gotta catch up on the season of What It Happened Was. Shout out to Mike. It's a good.
It's really good. I just started listening to it on Sunday and I'm almost done.
Wow. Yeah. I tore through the LP one.
Same.
And the Prince Paul one really quickly.
I still haven't listened to the Prince Paul one. I got to go back.
Oh man.
I got a Prince Among Thieves on vinyl because I wrote the I was telling Zilla this when I wrote the Public Enemy the liner notes for the Vinyl Me Please reissue. They sent me like fucking like 12 records. They just sent me like 12 like limited editions, and one of them was Prince Paul's Prince Among Thieves.
Wow.
And it's gorgeous.
Yo, and it's funny you say that because one of our listeners DM'd me like 2 hours ago saying he said I had not shouts to Ryan Rue 6. He said, "Damn, just had an idea. Sure, you probably thought of this, but Wrecking Crew Prince Among Thieves thing, but like a substitute movie reboot where you guys are the teachers." Like, get other people involved as characters that you guys school or that you're afraid of berating kids and whatnot. So it'd be like The Substitute, like our favorite like movies about 90s, like stern boomers beating up high school kids. But I guess he means like Prince. It would be a concept album like Prince Among Thieves, where we play the people that beat up the kids. So there you go. That's our great listenership. Shouts to Ryan Bruce 6. Oh boy. Okay. Dylan, the pod, Real Notes. Talk about that. Because I feel like people who listen to the show have great taste. They probably will check your show, but if not, hook them up.
Yeah, let people know what it is you do.
Yeah.
So sorry, what were you gonna say, Alaska?
I just said, yeah, let them know.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah, like long story short, Real Notes is about examining the intersection between music, particularly rap and film. Two things that I love a lot and saved my life, and I feel like saved a lot of other people's lives. And kind of like Castro was saying at the beginning, like it's just like we don't really, like there's a million billion different podcasts out there, and I didn't want to make one unless I had a really good idea or I could find a bunch of really great friends and do something wonderful like Call Out Culture. But like I just kind of came to this like kind of like finding that intersection in my writing is something that I've always been really keen on. So I was like, how about I just like do this myself and bring on rappers and talk to them about movies? Everybody loves movies. There aren't very many people I know who like don't fuck with movies, like especially on the rap side. Like I've lived too much life and met too many people who love both for there to not be some connection there. And I just decided to do it. And like it took me probably about 6 months to fully like plan what I wanted to call it, what questions I wanted to ask. I had to do a lot of research on my own. I pulled a lot of inspiration from a lot of different places, like It's the Real, who I'm a big fan of. I just met I just met fucking Eric fucking a couple weeks ago at a bowling night with rap portraits. That was beautiful. Shout out to Yo and Holland. That was a beautiful night. But like I just like did a whole bunch of research and wanted to figure out exactly like how to do it. Cause I like to talk, but you want to like structure a thing that you're gonna like, like just like do like an interview series. And I just like I put it out on my birthday in 2021, and I just put out the 56th episode today.
Woo,
actually,
get 'em.
with my good friend Kemba, formerly known as YC the Cynic from the Bronx. He's amazing. He's crazy. He's got a new album coming that's I haven't heard it yet, but Kemba's the best. So like I just I'm really big on bridging gaps of all different kinds, whether they be age gaps or like media gaps or whatever the fuck. So like I just wanted to do that and kind of have a thing to call my own and talk to people and give people a platform who may not necessarily be able to get to like like the Pitchforks and the Rolling Stones and shit. Like I'm nobody, bro, but like I just thought it would be fun, and it's been.
No, don't even fly that. You do good work. And we all appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
Had a good time when we're on your show.
Thank you.
All right.
Man. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So all right, Black Star shining.
Black Star keep shining. I just put the forgotten single. I found it. It's called Fix
Thank
Up.
you.
It's in the chat. And ignore my wife's picture in the avatar. This is her fucking Zoom account.
So here's your homework, all our call out cultures.
YouTube
your homework. Take the Black Star first
you can watch
record.
as many videos as you want without.
Fucking you watching, man?
Sorry, man. I clicked on the link and it started playing.
Take the first Black Star album, take the second Black Star album, play it on shuffle, and see how you're feeling. When the mixes clash, and then Mos Def is louder on one and quiet on the other. But we are Call Out Culture. We appreciate all our Call Out Cultures, all our Patreons, all our listeners. We have a good time. We bring good people, and we give out good energy. And so if you want to be a part of that, join on Patreon and go listen on YouTube and go to iTunes and leave a comment and go to Spotify and listen to the episode. Do it in that order, just like I told you. Write it down on your fridge if you're going to forget.
That's fair.
I'm saying, but Dylan, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me, yo.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
I'm Curly Castro for Alaska, Zilla Rocker. This is Shablau. Take that with you. And have a good Shablau in the morning.
Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey didn't ask for this album. That's my final thought. Marcus Garvey didn't ask for this. That's my final thought.
Marcus Garvey didn't ask for this shit. Black Star. Yeah. Marcus Garvey didn't ask for this shit.
That's the title.
Wow.
Everybody, peace.
Yeah, peace.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Talk to him.